Hey there, I'm Sam and I'm here to show you a few more moves that you can incorporate into your regular yoga practice. We're just going to build on what we've been learning and add a few more things that can help us with our wrists and our spine today. So right now I'm on my knees. You can sit however is comfortable for you. For myself, I'm just sitting with the tops of my feet into the mat, and I'm going to have my knees pointing the same direction forwards. I'm not going to let them spread open like this. And I'm just working on sort of finding a comfortable seat. For you, you can use a cushion or a pillow or a block or anything that helps you to get comfortable. You might put this in between your legs and find that a higher seat, whatever works the best for you. We're just getting comfortable here. So once you find your comfortable seat, whether it's down on the mat with your legs crossed or sitting on your knees like I am, you're going to just close your eyes, put your hands maybe palms facing down on your legs. We're just going to try and ground into our practice. And so that just means when we're grounding in that we're breathing, we're becoming aware of our breath, and we're finding the ground underneath us and just trying to find that sort of energy that keeps us here on the mat, okay? If you felt like you wanted to get more energized through your practice, you might practice this sitting part with your hands facing up. But I want you today, palms facing down, make sure your shoulders aren't up by your ears. They're nice and relaxed down your back. You are sitting either on your ankles or sort of slightly in between them, or on a cushion, whatever is comfortable for you. And again, just start to breathe. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth to begin with. Start with those breaths and try and deepen them. Now you'll notice at first when you start to breathe deeply that your chest wants to rise up and your shoulders want to rise up. We're trying to change our breath right now from our chest breathing that we're used to during the day more into a belly breath. So instead of just breathing here, we're trying to breathe all the way down into our belly. So focusing on that with your palms facing down, again, inhale through your nose. And once you feel the air come all the way down into your belly and expand your belly, then start to exhale. I'll turn so you can see. And you might even want to try having one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly so that you can feel the difference. So when you're inhaling, you really want to push that belly out. And as you exhale, imagine that you're deflating a balloon, okay? Just take a couple more breaths here to get grounded into your practice, to get comfortable with sitting here on your mat. You can have your eyes closed or open, whatever is most comfortable for you. Just focus on your breath and the way that it feels. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling, letting it all go. We're going to start to bring that exhale out through our nose as well, using what we called last week the ocean breath. This breath is also known as the victorious breath or the Ujjayi breath. But if I can remind you, you just inhale through your nose, and as you exhale, you're still exhaling through your throat, but the air is coming back out your nose, so it makes an ocean sound. Now, if you can connect to that breath throughout your practices, you'll find that you're able to build more heat and really contain your energy. Once you start breathing out of your mouth, you sort of lose the energy that you're building with your breath. So breath work is something of its own that we'll get into a little bit later in our practice. But right now, I'm just trying to show you a few simple things that can help you with your sports and to help yourself wind down after playing sports. So since you've been sitting here breathing, you've probably noticed all of the little sensations in your body. With your eyes closed, it's a lot more easy to feel the way that your feet are pressing into the mat, the points of your legs that are making contact with the mat. And you can feel your hands sitting and resting gently on top of your thighs. These are all sensations that are happening in our bodies that we're often unaware of. as we live our lives. Today, and with every practice, we're just trying to feel those sensations. Okay? So taking maybe 3 more deep breaths here, inhaling and exhaling through your nose together. Pulling those shoulders down away from your ears. Resting your body while you're doing this. And exhale one more time. We're going to bring our arms up overhead just to wake up our spine a little bit here. So as we inhale, we're going to inhale the arms up overhead. Palms touch each other. You can even look up. Pull those shoulders down away from your ears. And then exhale, bring both your palms down beside you again. That was one we did in the last video. So if you want to continue practicing that, go ahead and pause the video and do some side stretches in there, just like you did last week. If not, we're going to continue on to something that's called cat-cow. And it's kind of a funny name, but it's because you look like a cat and a cow throughout this posture. How you start it, I'm going to back up so you can see all of me. You have to start getting your knees underneath your hips, and you want your knees to be about shoulder width apart or hip width apart. We're not going to be overspreading them. You want to make sure that they're stacked, and then you want to stack your shoulders over your wrists, okay? So hopefully you can see this well enough. My shoulder is right over top of my wrist. My hip is right over top of my knee. And you can have your feet either with the tops of the feet flat on the ground, or you can tuck your toes. And that'll give you a bit more of a stretch down the backs of your legs and down your feet. Okay, so from here, we're nice and stacked. We just want to find a neutral spine. We want to find something that looks flat like a table. So this is tabletop position. You don't want your neck to be craned, so make sure that you are comfortable when you're watching. And then just starting with a neutral spine, you're going to inhale, and remember that as you're doing these movements, you can keep breathing at your normal pace. When I say inhale, it just means on your next inhale that's comfortable to you, start this movement, okay? So don't just listen to my cues. Make sure that you're breathing the whole time. Never stop breathing, but let your breath and your cycle of breath guide you. So we're going to inhale as we let our belly sag. We're going to bring our chin up towards the sky, tilting our head back. This is the cow pose. You'll see we sort of look like a cow with our belly sagging down. Our tailbone is turning up towards the sky. We're trying to really push our hips up and back and tilt our pelvis down as we tilt our belly, sag our belly, and sort of look skyward. So this is the cow pose, and that's what we do on an inhale. And as we start our exhale, we're going to start to tuck our chin, turn our pelvis inward, and arch our back. Sort of how we look like a cat on Halloween, you know? So we're making a big C shape with our back, and we're pressing into our knees and our hands, and tucking our chin now. So this is the exact opposite of cow. And then again, we're going to start to inhale, and we're going to start to roll back through neutral and into cow, tilting our pelvis and tilting our chin both up to the sky. So our tailbone is reaching to the sky here. And then as you start to exhale, you're going to push back into that cat. Okay, now I'm going to turn just so you can see it from another angle, but keep going with your breath cycle, where you inhale to the cow, and then you exhale, pushing through your hands, pushing into your shoulders, tucking your chin into your chest, tucking your tailbone under, and then inhaling back to the cat. So just keep going gently with that, and I'll turn so you can get another view. So while we're in the cow, our chin is really stretched up to the sky, being mindful of your neck. You don't want to hurt your neck. Your shoulders are shoulder width apart. My hips are hip width apart, and they're stacked over my knees. This is tabletop, the neutral. But the inhale is where we were doing the cow. And the exhale, we push into our hands, tuck our chin, and stretch our back up in an arch. Then we can just come down into a neutral spine. You're always using your breath to guide your movements. Okay, so that was cat cow. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. From here, I'll just get you to sit back onto your heels, and I'm flipping my toes so that the tops of my toes, or the tops of my feet, are in the mat now. I wouldn't want to sit back on my feet like this right now. I'm just flipping my toes, sitting back here, and I'm going to show you a stretch for your wrists, because I'm sure as you're playing sports, you're doing a lot of different wrist action. So we're going to do just a really mild stretch on our wrists, and you can change the intensity of this stretch by how much you lean into it. I'll do it sideways, but you can keep facing the camera. You're just going to sit on your feet like you did before. Your tops of your feet are in the mat. You can even sit down in between your feet if you have the room, or again, on a cushion, whatever's comfortable for you. And then I want you to bring your hands in front of you like this, and then point your fingers back towards your knees like that, okay? Now, if that's as much room as you have in this position, then that's great. Just stay right here. Or alternatively, you can use some blocks or books or a cushion or anything that helps bring the ground up to you, okay? So just starting something mild, we're going to try and bring our fingertips towards our knees and just lean into our wrists. I'm going to get rid of my blocks just because I'm not sure if you have any. And I'd like you to be able to see this without any props. So I don't have a cushion anymore either. This is kind of a variation of lion's pose. Lion's pose involves a little bit more than this, but we'll just get you started with a wrist stretch, okay? So as always, you want to make sure that your spine is straight when you're starting these poses. You don't want to start slouching when you're trying to get into anything. So make sure that you're straight by inhaling, filling your lungs and your belly with air, and then exhaling, letting that go, letting your shoulders roll back and down. And then again, find your breath, inhale. And as you exhale, I just want you to lean forwards onto your hands a little bit, okay? Now, it's perfectly fine if the palms of your hands don't touch the mat. We're just trying to feel a bit of a stretch up our wrist. I want you to stop if at any time you have pain, and just relax, just breathe, and don't go any further into those postures that cause you pain. If this feels okay for you and your back is still nice and straight and you're not having any pain on your ankles or anything, then you can start to try and work your palms down to the mat. And if it hurts, you can kind of come up, you can raise your hips so that you don't have as much weight on your hands. But the goal here, I guess, is to be able to keep your hips down and then eventually work your palms down to the mat. I'll turn so you can see a bit of a different angle. And for this one, it's just a really gentle way that we want to stretch our wrists. We never want to go overboard with the wrists. We use our hands quite a bit, so you can imagine that having a wrist injury is no fun. Right? And we don't want to be too far away on this. We don't want our hands spread way out here. We don't want to be touching each other. We want to be about shoulder width apart, our fingertips facing our knees, and our wrists facing away from us. Once you find that spot that feels okay for you, either your hips are up like this or they're down, you can just sort of start to breathe here, leaning into it as far as is comfortable for your body. Okay, so inhale with your eyes closed. Exhale. Again, trying to cultivate your ocean breath. It's okay if you haven't mastered it yet. It's okay if you inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. But someday you'll find that inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose will help you with your energy. So just try and practice it. Notice the parts of your body that have sensations. Notice the feelings that you didn't feel before. When we close our eyes and we just breathe and we just sit in the moment, we notice things. We become aware. And body awareness is what we are trying to cultivate here. You might feel a little bit of a difference as you sit here. In your wrists, they might be opening up more, or maybe they start to feel too tight. It's okay to back off if you find that they're too tight. You don't have anyone to prove anything to. There's no ego in yoga. There is just yoga. So do what's comfortable and safe for your body. When you've had enough here, just take 2 more deep breaths. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. 1 more deep breath here. You can start to lift your hands off the mat slowly and just bring them up onto your knees. You can leave your palms facing up. If it feels okay to you, maybe you'll interlace your fingertips and just push your hands away from you. This can be a nice gentle counter pose to that. If we go forwards and backwards, just trying our arms out, giving them a bit of a different stretch now. Now, if everything feels good in your arms, we'll just take a seat on our mat here, crossing our legs this time, and we'll wind down our practice. Again, we're going to do a little bit more spine stretching. We're going to inhale both of our arms up overhead, bring our palms to face one another, and once they arrive, I want you to exhale and let your right hand down to the mat. Inhale again, find length in your spine, maybe look upwards a bit, and as you exhale, just start to curve over to the side. Inhale, come back up. Exhale when you arrive. Inhale, bring your right arm up to meet your left. Exhale, bring your left arm back down to the mat. Inhale to find that length, and as you start to exhale, start to just curve over to the left side this time. Again, we're not collapsing on the side of our body that we're curving towards. We're trying to find nice long lines on both sides of our body and wake up our spine just a little bit. Coming back to center with an inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring them back down to the mat. You can plant your hands in the mat behind you, and we're just going to do another gentle back stretch. So inhale, exhale, unstretch. This is just a bit of a dynamic warm-up for your core. So I'm going to get you to inhale as you come forwards and exhale around the back. We're going to just do a few of these. And then switch direction. So I'll turn to face you now. Just coming backwards and forwards, rocking from our seat. I know this doesn't look very graceful, but it's just a great way to get your whole spine moving. There are more complicated ways to do that, but right now we're just going to try and find a few movements for our spine. You see me twisting left to right and just gently putting my hand down on either side of me. I'm not pulling, I'm just warming up my spine. And this is really important for you to do every day, and especially if you're playing sports. Just small warm-ups for your spine, taking a lot of care to be breathing while you do it, never holding your breath, and being aware of your body, feeling the parts that are tight. You might notice that you have a tight shoulder and you need to work on that. Well, I'm going to guide you through all of the different postures that you can add to your practice that hopefully you will incorporate into your life every day. So let me know if you liked these ones. And again, as always, I recommend that you kick your feet out in front of you, extend them, and lie down and take a rest in what we call final resting pose. I'll show you what it looks like again, but I won't guide you through it and sit with you. But I do encourage you to sit through that posture for, even up to 5 minutes. Just lie all the way down. Maybe before you get comfortable, you'll squeeze your knees into your chest and give them a big hug with your arms. And then you'll extend one of your legs out in front of you and extend the other one. letting your heels touch and then letting your feet fall away from each other. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Your palms are facing the sky. And you can let go of that breath that you were using, the one that you cultivated to practice your postures, the ocean breath. You can just return to your normal breath, that shallow chest breath that we're used to. Whenever you're ready to come out of this, you'll just bring your knees back up into your chest, maybe rock from side to side again, and roll over onto your right side. Push yourself up to a seat. Final resting pose, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important postures that you can take in your practice. It really gives your body a moment to sink into what you've done and to feel all those feelings. So I hope you enjoyed your practice with me today. Thank you so much for sharing your practice, and I look forward to our next video session. Thank you.